Hey cadets, today we'll be discussing a complex topic that you may have some questions about. What do consensus, computers, and collaboration all have in common? You guessed it, not only do they all start with the letter C, they all have to do with our topic, mining. We'll be discussing what mining is, why it's important, and its history. We'll also examine the difference between nodes and miners and find out where your transactions go after you send it. Sit tight, because in this episode, we'll be taking a deep dive into the mines. I'm Captain Crypto, and welcome to Cryptonauts. Before we can understand what a miner does, we need to go back to the beginning and look at the trusty blockchain.
The blockchain is like a never-ending railroad track. Each block is a section of track which is chained together by the rails. It continuously gets longer and longer as more blocks get added to the rail line. The entire railway system is the Bitcoin network. When you send Bitcoin to your elderly grandmother for being your #1 supporter, you are using this network.
You may be wondering why this is important. Well, the blockchain ensures that all transaction records are honest. Keeping the blockchain safe is a very important task. Without security, we can't guarantee that the data hasn't been compromised. As a matter of fact, there are a few components that work together in order to safeguard the blockchain. Two of these are nodes and miners. A node is like a computer that has the history of Bitcoin in its hard drive, while a miner is like a gaming console. Miners can link together and combine their processing power. Imagine what kind of games you could play off 1,000 linked Xboxes.
According to Bitcoin Stack Exchange, user Joe asks, what's the difference between a miner and a full node? The top answer, provided by How We Camp, states that a miner creates blocks in the blockchain which the nodes keep. Basically, the miner works on upcoming transactions to store the information, while nodes keep that result forever to verify with other nodes.
Nodes and miners must work together even though they are from different parties, like you and your high school crush. You two are forced together to work as partners on a school project, and you end up doing all the work. Then you call her, and she ends up blocking you for no reason, and then Anyway.
A node is in charge of running the railway system. They have all the information in the network, including the track history, the location of the trains, the times they run, and what cargo they carry. They direct traffic and tell the trains where to go. All nodes run on the same shared information, the blockchain. But interestingly enough, the entire network could run off just one node, because inside each node is the entire history of the Bitcoin network.
Using the same railway system, we can now understand the role of miners.
Every 10 minutes, a new block is created. The party that is responsible for this process is, you guessed it, the miners. Miners are the factories that produce new railroad tracks for the blockchain. They are the driving force behind blockchain technology. While the miners lay down the foundation of the network, our friend Mr. Node is there to give us access to the database so we know where new tracks need to go. Mr. Node gives us the information needed, and the miners do the work.
But what types of miners are out there? Let's talk about the different types along with a brief history of mining equipment.
In 2009, all you needed to mine Bitcoin was a regular laptop computer. This was also known as CPU mining. As more people became miners, newer and more efficient methods came along. In 2011, GPU mining was discovered, using high-end graphics cards to boost mining power. In 2013, ASIC mining was created. ASICs, or application-specific integrated circuits, were created with one purpose and one purpose only: to mine Bitcoin. They're the Frankenstein of mining rigs, and they're alive! Soon after ASICs, mining pools were formed like a unionized team of teamsters. These mining pools combine their power to mine together and split the profits.
Now that we have a clearer picture of the relationship between miners, nodes, and the blockchain, it's time to switch gears and take another perspective. Let's talk about the two main outcomes that result from the mining process. First, new Bitcoins are created and they get added to the total circulating supply. Secondly, the network's security is increased as these transactions get validated by miners. This happens through Bitcoin's built-in consensus algorithm proof of work.
When you are mining for Bitcoin, you are digitally digging for gold. Imagine, in every new block that is created, there is a safe. There is a secret combination to the door, also known as the nonce. The miner needs to dig for the nonce because behind that safe door are bitcoins. Through trial and error, it will try every combination until it guesses correctly. This is much like physical digging because when you strike gold, woo, it's finders keepers, baby.
The miner gets to keep the bitcoins it finds in exchange for all the hard work it puts into validating Bitcoin transactions and creating a new block. But what exactly is a transaction? Let's find out.
A transaction consists of three things: the input, output, and the amount of Bitcoin transacted. Think of a transaction as a receipt. This receipt keeps track of who sent what to who, along with the time and signature. When the block is filled up with transactions, it gets added to the blockchain.
How do miners know which transactions to put on the new block, and how picky are they? For that, let's take a closer look at the inner workings of a block.
When you send or receive Bitcoin, there's a cost of space. Based on the overall weight of the transactions, each batch takes up a certain amount of block space. According to blockchain.com, the average block size fluctuates between 0.7 and 1.3 megabytes, with the median average being 1 megabyte. Since there is limited capacity for each block, the miner will package each batch of transactions to be most profitable. Miners organize the transactions by the largest order first and fill as many transactions into the block as possible to maximize output. They prioritize this process by transaction fees.
These fees are service charges for sending your Bitcoin to the specified address. Think of the transaction fee as selecting the type of mail you want to use at a post office. There's first class mail, priority mail, or regular 3 to 5 business day mail. The more you're willing to pay, the faster your transaction will process. The miner that creates the block receives both the transaction fee and the block reward. The block reward is the number of Bitcoins rewarded for each block. The rules for the amount of Bitcoins received depends on the Bitcoin halving. For more information on that, check out our Bitcoin halving video here. Whew, that's a lot of information. All right, cadets, let's take a look at the entire mining process and break it down step by step.
Imagine a racetrack that takes 10 minutes to run from start to finish. The miners participating step up to the starting line. The previous block winner is announced, marking the beginning of the next race. On your mark, get set, go! Everyone starts running. They're computers. They are running to solve the new block at the end of the finish line.
Depending on the number of participants and the strength of each miner, the Bitcoin network sets the difficulty of the race by either increasing or decreasing the number of combinations in which the nonce can be found. This is also known as the block difficulty adjustment. The idea of this is that it always takes approximately 10 minutes to solve the block correctly.
After a miner finds the nonce and crosses the finish line, he is the winner. However, it's not over yet. It's time to review the race in slow motion and make sure there's no dispute. The remaining race participants check the work of the winner to make sure he is the real deal. If it all checks out, then a vote is cast. Whoever wins the majority is declared our winner. The miner who solved the winning block reaps the block reward and the transaction fees. Then immediately after that, the next race begins.
But what happens if there's a tie?
Let's say miner A and B solved different versions of a block at the exact same time. 50% of the participants voted for A and 50% went with B. In this case, the 10-minute cycle for the next race immediately starts and the racetrack is split into two. Each miner runs on the blockchain that it voted for, and the winner is then determined by the next block. Let's say team block B solves the block first during this tiebreaker. In this case, they are the ultimate winner and blockchain B is the true blockchain. Everyone ditches track A and migrates onto blockchain track B.
Now what happens if everyone disagrees? Or what if they only vote for themselves? Well, if they don't play together, consensus is never reached. Without a full agreement, the value of the Bitcoin that they are all mining becomes worthless. And who wants to mine something worthless? Mining actually encourages people to play together. Okay, on to confirmations.
After the block with your transaction is created, the next block begins. Every block that is mined after that automatically adds one confirmation to your transaction. If your transaction happens on block number 10,000, then that means when block number 10,002 is mined, there are now 2 confirmations on your transaction. In the Book of Satoshi, written by Phil Champagne, Hal Finney and Satoshi Nakamoto exchange emails regarding transactions. Satoshi refers to 6 blocks as an appropriate time for a transaction to be confirmed and forever made a part of the blockchain.
This means that after waiting an hour, finality is reached. This is a good thing because it works similar to cash. While a credit card can reverse transactions and a check can bounce, a Bitcoin transaction that has 6 confirmations is permanent. So, in conclusion, mining is the process of creating new blocks. During this 10-minute process, new Bitcoins enter the ecosystem at a steady rate, and transactions are validated as network security is increased. Mining helps the blockchain do its thing and makes sure that it remains trustworthy and fair. We hope that this video gives you a better understanding of this complicated process and that eventually you find true love. Remember, hodl, secure your crypto, and may Satoshi and Vitalik be with you always.
Cryptonauts.